Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Walking with the Master. This is dedicated to Dr. Moses Powell, our teacher, and we want to always have him in our minds. He is in our minds, and there are others. So I'm Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad, and also known or otherwise known as Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad. And I have two tremendous guests on this show today. The one, that's Grandmaster Bill Mccloud. Grandmaster, how you doing?
Happy to be here, sir.
Man, it's wonderful. Always wonderful to have you on. And we have a new guest, but he's really not a guest. This is a family member here.
Absolutely.
And that everybody's going to get an opportunity to take a look at, to listen to, and to hear some profound information that we have in store for you today. And that is Grandmaster Kenny Brown. Let's give her. How you doing, my brother?
Alaikum. How's my brother?
Wa alaikum salam. Doing wonderful. And it's wonderful to have you on this show. And, this show is dedicated to really just getting everyone an opportunity to get to know Doc through the eyes of those who walked with the Master. And that's all we're talking about, walking with him in our own life and what we have done in our own life. And this is an opportunity for us to do that. So again, welcome the both of you to this show that we've gotten a lot of feedback from. And they've been waiting. They've been waiting to hear something and get something new, and you're the new ones on the block in terms of this show. All right, so we're gonna get right into it now. We want to have a conversation, and that's all we do. This is not looking for any difficulties, troubles. We're talking about life, and we're talking about how we have walked our life and our enjoyment and association with Doc and others in this tremendous system of VSK. Well, those are just acronyms of Grand Professor V, which is the V. The S is Sanuces, which is Dr. Moses Powell, and the K is Soke Little John Davis. So let's get started. Grandmaster Bill, first of all, how you been?
Man, I'm perpendicular. I keep one foot in front of the other, and I be praying that I don't trip.
Yes, sir. Well, you've been keeping one foot in front of the other for quite a little while now. You know what I'm saying?
About to get the other foot, so I'm going to get some balance in these foots. One foot.
Yes, sir.
And as we speak, we have to take in consideration that there's always the law of cause and effect. It's always in motion. Everything has a beginning, and a lot of times we talk about the middle and the end of things. We talk about the effect instead of causation. Things in motion. Nothing gets in play without something being the catalyst from which it comes. And that's what we're talking about here today and stuff. You mentioned the VSK. There could be none of the other two acronyms if there wasn't the first one. So today we're gonna venture into talking a little about that, and there's nobody better who was there, who was in it, who did it with him and documented it at the time when they didn't have the technology that we have now. So this is one of the things that we're here to talk about. It's not to take away from anything. We're just talking about, it's like what came first, So, and this is some of the things that we want to communicate.
Awesome.
So this is Grandmaster Kenny Brown, this sitting next to me, and in talking about Vijitsu, Vijitsu Ru, Vijitsu Te, Vijitsu Ru, Vijitsu Te, and you have to understand what that means, Vijitsu Ru, Vijitsu Te, and he is the founder of modern Jiu-Jitsu, which came about in 1979 at CW Post, and he was giving that the permission to be able to do what he did there at that time, and it kind of predates a lot of other things that came afterwards, but they were in the beginning, and it was Vijitsu Ru, Vijitsu Te, and this is what Moses, he came from that. If those who've seen the documentary, The Warrior Within, and he expressed that he was the senior master in Vijitsu Ru, Vijitsu Te, right? So we have to date that, what that meant, what was he saying at that time, and then we go on from there.
My name is Moses Powell. I've been studying Jiu-Jitsu for the last 20 years. I'm the master for Renda Visitashino. And at this particular time, I'm a senior master in the art of Jiu-Jitsu Te and Vijitsu Ru.
So yes, sir. Give us an understanding of your history and how you came into all of what we were just saying.
Let me clarify that technically I was a martial artist all my life. I'm born black. In that sense, that's how we grew up. My first encounters with self-defense and martial art was when Bill and I were in the 3rd grade. We had monitors tell us we had to cross at the corner, but we wanted to walk across the time. Never thought it'd be this many years there, we'd still be walking the same street. But on a more serious note, I started training formally in 1969. I call it formally because up to then I was doing Stato, we were doing kick fights, Swahili, whatever you wanted to call it. We were combating. It wasn't until I met Moses Powell and entered his school of thought that I initially believed that I was a formal student of martial arts. I was first source with Maynard Minor. He used to teach Shotokan, and I was impressive, but it didn't supersede anything that we were doing for combat. It looked cute, but I didn't have the connection. I wasn't connected to the form of martial art till I met with Moses Powell. And I can tell you my first experience meeting with him, I was standing on the corner of Eastern Parkway and Notre Dame, and one of his students came, whose name was Hudson at the time. And he came up, and he was the son, I'm sorry, the brother, a friend of mine. It was his little brother, and he was enthusiastic about martial arts. I was always doing Stato, and I came out of a different school on Atlantic Avenue. If you know what I mean.
Yes, sir.
What you know, he moved around, and I swept his feet, and he went up in the air and fell down on his butt. And it was a joke. We laughed, and I didn't cut out so much for that. 2 years later, that same individual I met again, and unbeknownst to me, no, it was known to me that he was training with some new people. And I said, well, let me see what they showed you. So he took me down to Sterling Place and Notion Avenue, up these steps. And that's when I saw little John Davis, Hudson, Willie, Dunbar, uh, Kenny Ashland. And these were just normal people. Now, I call myself being able to walk the stroll of Nelson Avenue without being able to get at the feet up to Fulton Street. So from Eastern Parkway down to Fulton Street, I was like, thought I was king. Beyond that, I don't care who you were. That territory wasn't. These guys are just too tough, but in my opinion. But when I saw the stuff that they were doing at Sanuces before it was called that, and I said, that's what I want. I told them, if you let me in here, I'll be a model, a great person. I'll behave myself. But I wasn't well liked, and I don't blame people for feeling that. But that's where it first started. I was always combative. So it got me down to, got me into 554 Atlantic Avenue. That's what, and I had a gi. I put the gi on. I'm babbling. I gotta apologize for that. But on my gi, it said me, use me. You know, and my money wasn't straight, but I wanted to be a part of that. So I'll do anything. I'll behave. I won't bother nobody. When I first saw Moses, I had a fight, altercation with Grandmast, I believe. And I had this turban. My head was bandaged. And I was standing outside, and Moses came by. And I looked, I said, you see this? This is what them guys, I tried one of that stuff that you do. And this is what happened. And he immediately using explicit. He said, you ain't tried that. Not joking. Yeah. Yes. And then mixing with people. My social skills were challenged. I mean, they let me in. And when they let me in, I never left. Everything was fair. I liked to fight, and they showed me how everything was okay. And you was not punished for it. In other places, you know, that's dirty, get out. It was one of the few places that they didn't ask me to leave. As a matter of fact, they didn't ask nobody to leave. They turned the pressure up. And what amazed me, we had Little John Davis, who was literally Little John, but Bill Hudson, he was also little, short. And the thing that shocked me more than anything is that these guys were little, as far as the term is concerned, and they were just kicking my rump all over the place. All they say I went to Sanuces, and I came in, and then I got mine, and then I did this. You did not. You came in and you learned how to take a proficient ass whipping without getting excited about it, and then go on from that experience. But don't you think that you going back and show somebody something? There's questions about it. That's questionable conduct. But neither here nor there. Some of my best experiences, some of my notable experiences, we didn't have a dojo as nice as this, but we had one window, and we had mats that were sewed together, and underneath them they would have holes. And I used to come in and sweep, make like I was sweep the floor, and I slide weapons and stuff onto the torn mat. So while we were doing techniques, I could sweep my arm under there and grab a weapon without the person knowing. I always try to get on them. And I would reach under there, and they just stomped my hand, pulled it out, did whatever they did, and didn't even mention it. You know, that way I actually called myself being caught on the spot. Other times we sneak behind somebody while they're doing technique. We had the term "watch your back." That came from for you not paying attention to the other guy while you're doing technique. So if you got one guy down, it's your obligation to look to the left and right and around. You just can get fixated on them. You know, and all the different skills that weren't taught or socially accepted with the criteria for me. You know, and also the time that we call you the term "dirty dean" by nickname, because I try any of the dirty techniques or what I thought were dirty techniques, but nobody cared. It was accepted. You were not praised, but you was rewarded. Like it was acceptable, socially acceptable. You know, and there was no excuse. That one rule to fight, and that, of course, is to win. you know, by any means necessary. There's no question.
So let me ask you something. You mentioned earlier about the before the advent of the name of Sanuces. What was that? What was it called before that? And what was being practiced before Sanuces was Sanuces?
Self-defense.
Self-defense complete?
Yes, that's it. I haven't used that term in a long time. Yes. Yeah.
And how did where did the term Sanuces come from?
Now people would have a different how do you say, crisis, a different view. My understanding from my witnesses came up by Arthur Hudson. We was in the 554 Atlantic area, a couple of us playing chess, and Professor Moses Powell walked in and he didn't like anybody playing games. So the minute he came in, Hudson saw him, and that was the signal there. I want to talk to you since he's Sanuces, sons of survival. He said, get dressed, but it was just a stall. And we used the stall to slow him down. Then nobody knew how to spell it. So he said, how do you spell that? He said, that's why it says the first way the Sancu, Sancuces. But it was before that there was no Sanuces. But we used that term and it stuck. That's my interpretation on that particular day and time. And Moses wasn't hearing that. He said, get dressed. You couldn't hang out in the dojo without training. There was nobody able to watch and see what we did because you had to be a part of it. Made something so good and impressive. Never mind if you could fight, if I could fight, so what? I practice harder. I'll make you fight. And that was it. I show you how to do what I'm doing through you, not just through me. And that's what I found with impressive.
So let me ask you this about where was at this time, where was Grand Professor V?
Professor V, okay. There were two schools of thought that Professor V taught at. One, Moses, I'm sorry, I'm talking about Professor V had a school across the street from Moses. He gave Moses the school. And he got a few weeks, a little different.
He gave Moses 554?
He gave Moses 554 Atlantic Avenue, and he took this one across the street, closed down the bookstore that he had, and gave Moses the school across the street. And I'm comfortable because I don't know Professor as Moses. It still gives me the shakes to say or address him in that fashion. That's too informal, even though he would give me permission to hurt me. Somebody said, hey, you know, Mo, that's very, very, very disturbing. But we go with it. Now, Professor V had the school down across the street, and he gave Moses the school at 554 Atlantic Avenue because he was closed up. First, he went downstairs in the basement of 554, and then he came upstairs. And it was $600 for the rent. And a guy named Boogie, he used to have Vinberg Styles, we called it Vinberg Styles, who Panamanian brother, who was a businessman. And he gave Moses the money to buy, he didn't give him the money, he paid the landlord to keep the place open for $600. And we was all wondering where we were going to get the money to get in the dojo. And Boogie took care of it. I remember that. But one of the things, they had two schools of thought. One we called, I don't want to say soft, but the reputable, less eager. And then we had Moses, who was the Professor V. On the other hand, and Professor V used to teach us, practice his techniques in the morning on up, and then go across the street to his more civil students and train what he's what he wanted to do with us.
Every student of a master here today, you reflect your master teacher. You want to walk like him. You want to talk like her. But you start by having an object in front of you that you admire.